here. I'm gonna turn this on real quick for a minute. Okay. Let me make sure we live, and I'll count it on down. And down. Yeah, we live.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the books was in. The books are in. Yep. They in. They're here.
All right. Take this off here and we'll get started. Oh, shoot, I'm on the wrong thing. Hold on, y'all. You go up here. Okay. Peace and Black African power. Welcome back to Kofi Piesie TV with Kofi Piesie Research Team. Today we have a special guest, a powerful brother from Baltimore. We'll let him introduce himself in a minute. But welcome back to Author's Perspective. First, I want to say E.T. Imhotep, Dua Aku, Dua Nature, Fatmu Alafiye, Fatmu Riri, Majuba Iba Ie Gungun, Majuba Iba Ie Gungun, Majuba Iba Ie Lakba, Majuba Iba Ie Lakba, Igungun Kiki Igungun. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. I also want to stand honor and praises to the true and living elders according to African traditions and from an African worldview. Again, welcome back to Author's Perspective. Please like and share the show. Brother Satep, Brother T'Challa, we have Brother T'Challa and Brother Satep and Ra on the panel. Do y'all have anything, man, before we get started with the show? And again, peace to those in the chat, peace to those that may be listening to this in the archives.
But I just want to say peace to the brother Baba Imhotep. I'm looking forward to this interview, to getting on this brother, and I appreciate you for coming on our panel.
All right, peace to everybody. Peace to Baba Imhotep. Pleased to meet you and have you on the show. Look forward to learning today, and let's get ready for another Author Perspectives show. It's gonna be a good show.
All right, peace, brother.
All right. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. And then we'll get into the interview, brother Baba. Hold on, let me share my screen. Y'all, please like and share the show. Please tell a friend to tell a friend, tell a friend. Okay. Let me know when my screen is sharing, y'all. Can y'all see my screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. All right, hold on one second. I'm gonna throw these headphones in my ear and we'll get started. All right. I forgot to take that little piece off. But yeah, today, like I said, we got a powerful brother from Baltimore, an author who's doing a lot in his community, Baba Imhotep. We'll get to him in just a minute. But on here, y'all know we stand by this. As I learn, we all learn. This is a motto, like I said, that we stand by and we live and we try to demonstrate on a daily basis. We must not let our ancestors. I'm looking at the wrong one. We must produce more writers. This is important, and this is a reason why we put together author's perspective, because we have to produce more people, produce more writers that look just like us. Let's see. All right, and we always dedicate the show to a author, and today we're going to dedicate the show to our ancestor, John G. Jackson. John G. Jackson is a Pan-Africanist. He's a historian. He's a lecturer. He's a writer. He's a author. So I want to say Majuba Iba E to John G. Jackson. These are some of his publications, and I've got all of the publications except the two at the bottom. So yeah, the show was dedicated to Brother John G. Jackson. This is our proverb for author's perspective. Until a lion learns how to write, every story will glorify the hunter. This is an African proverb. This is an African proverb, meaning that until the oppressed class learn how to read, write, or communicate with the world outside, the world will never know their viewpoint. The world will always believe the influential hunter who can modify their tales, talk about the glorious, which might just be an illusion. When a hunter goes for a hunt, he can come back and tell 1,000 tales about how bravely he fought the lion and killed him. However, the truth might that he backstabbed the lion and killed him without even an iota of resistance. I love this proverb right here, and this is a reason why we must produce more writers that look like us, so we can tell our story from our own perspective and from our own world view. Again, let's break down what an author is so we can get some context before we get started with the interview. Author, and this is coming from the etymology dictionary. Father, creator, one who brings about, one who makes or creates someone or something. From the Old French actor, author, originator, creator, instigator. Modern French auteur, the directly Latin add to promote, produce, father, progenitor, builder, founders, trustworthy writers, authoritative, historian, perform, doer, responsible person, teacher, literary, one who causes to grow, agents, noun, from the octaves past particular, agreeing to increase. Author, a writer of a book, a article, or a report. And like I stated a few shows ago, if you don't have a publication, a book out, if you are writing in some type of capacity, reports, articles, journals, you are an author. Writer, Old English rhetoric, one who can write, one who produces books, literature, composition. Agents, noun from within, meaning sign, painter. This is also from the etymology dictionary for writers. Writer, a writer of a person who used written words in different styles and techniques to communicate ideals. Writing produce different forms of literature, arts, and creative writing, such as novels, short stories, books, poetry, plays, screenplays, teleplays, songs, and essays, as well as others, reports, and news articles that may be in the interest of the public. Writers, texts, and publish across a range of media skills. Writers who are able to use languages and express ideals well as contribute significance to the cultural context of a society. So we need more producers. We need more creators. We need more writers. And again, if you don't have spiritual comeback, please go get Spiritual Combat, a historical survey in the minds of African warrior scholars, Volume 3. It was just released, I think it was last Friday. It's available now on www.Kofi Piesie TV. So get that new publication by Kofi Piesie Research Team. And again, we are on Author's Perspective. Go to www.familyconnectapparel.com. That is our Mboka Family Connected Apparel online store, and get your Author's Perspective shirt now. The front has the logo of Author's Perspective on the front left-hand corner, and the seal of Kofi Piesie Research Team on the bottom. So let me stop sharing my show, and let's get into this interview. Okay, let me know when I'm back. Okay. All right. Now, brother Baba Imhotep, welcome to Author's Perspective. I got a list of questions, and the brothers do too on my other laptop right here. But first, brother Baba Imhotep, introduce yourself, man, to the people that may not know who you are and what you got going on.
Yeah, first off, I want to just give out a big thanks, a big shout out to you and your team for doing what you do. I think this is excellent, it's phenomenal, and I'm honored to be here. So yes, I'm Baba Imhotep, founder of PLM, which is Pan-African Liberation Movement. We based out of Baltimore, Maryland. I'm also the director of we have a nonprofit youth organization, African Senate, that focuses on children ages 6 through 12. We have a child care center, Watoto Development Center, us African Senate, and we can work with your child from ages 6 months to 5 years of age. And we're currently doing a fundraiser. We're raising funds so we can open up what we are defining as an independent African Senate school. I don't really like saying African Senate school because by definition, anything that any serious-minded African put together has got to be African Senate. That's just go without saying. So our school is going to be independent. We got a fundraiser going for that. You know, I'm a husband. I've been married to my wife for over 15 years, successfully, straight. Me and my wife has 2 children together, and Yame, who is 8, and I have Mujasi, who is 4. I have 3 additional children, and that's it. So I like to be asked questions. So I'm doing a whole lot. I'm in the movement, in the struggle. Me and my wife has a consulting service business that we do. Primarily, we focus on a lot of relationships, you know, but at the same time, we do emotional intelligence, we do yoga, we do spiritual work, we do personal development, anger regulation. All that's being done through our consulting service. And I'm gonna stop there for now. Anything else come up during our interview, I'll put it out there.
Okay, all right. Okay. Now, and before we also get started, we ask every person that comes on Author Perspective, what are some of your favorite authors? You can name as many as you want them, but what are some of your favorite authors?
Man, my favorite authors. That's well, I'll do it like this. I never thought of it from that perspective. So I'll tell you, I'll say Dr. Chekanajat. I like his work, historical work. I like the scientific perspective of what he put out. Dr. Ivan Van Sertima's work. I like that work that was put out. That thinking. Dr. Oba Tashaka, and Wadamu Burundi. Nana Mama Ani's work, her thinking, her thought process is phenomenal. Let me see. I like John Henry Clark works, his thinking is level-headedness. So, and just I would say, what else would I would put out there? I think in terms of, let's see. Yeah, I'll stop there.
Okay. Man, you got that's a heavy lineup right there, man. I like a lot of those authors, and I got just about every author you name. I got just about a lot of their publications. If they got multiple publications,
Yes.
was just reading. I know I'm saying the sister name. What is it? Marini Annie. What? How you pronounce her name?
Marimba.
Yeah, Marimba Annie. Her Broken Circle book. I have
Yes.
I have a other publication too. I think it's Yahuru.
Yes, Yaruga.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I like the lit lineup you got right there, man. Yeah, man. So this, and like I said, this show, Baba Imhotep, man, it's like I said, we created this this show for to inspire and influence people that look like us, so they can be able to create and produce be able to create and produce publications as well, because a lot of people don't know, and we're fairly new. We'll say that even though we have 7 publications out, we still new booties, I would say. We're new authors, so it's a learning process for us, but we also want to take what we know and take what the people that the authors that we interview know, and put it out there for the public, so people can be able to see how to put a book together, what I'm saying, the do's and don'ts, far as self-publishing, give them an option, what is you going through a publishing company versus going through a self-publishing company, the process of how to write and to create, what is an introduction, what is a foreword, a dedicated foreword, what is a prologue, what is a bibliography page. So we trying to give them the tools, so people can see that it's not really that hard. All you got to do is just apply yourself and do it. You know what I'm saying? And put it out there. So first, what actually got you into writing, man, and how long you've been writing?
So what got me writing is interesting, because around in 1995, I had read the book, the autobiography of W.E.B. Du Bois. So I read his autobiography, and one of the things that he talked about in there was, in part of your study process, when he got into talking about study, in addition to reading and reflecting and things like that, he said that one should write. He said that the writing allows you to organize your thoughts. And from 1995, after reading that, what I began to do is, every book that I read after that, I would summarize every chapter and then summarize the entire book. So I started doing that. And then around 1999, I began to just write my own thoughts out on different things that I was thinking about. So I started off just writing essays for a time period. And then from writing those essays, I said, you know what? Around 2012, I said, let me see if I can put a book out. And then I began to convert some of the essays into the book format, and I produced the first book, my red book. That was the first book that I produced. Okay. So that's pretty much how I got into writing, just from, I'm the type of person that I take what our ancestors did so seriously, and even if I didn't agree with some things that some ancestors may have done, I still possess the capacity to recognize the genius in these individuals. And I recognized the genius in W.E.B. Du Bois. I read about him, and then based on the things that he was saying, I just felt like it made some sense. So I said, let me put what he's saying to the test to see what it did. And it actually did help me out a whole lot. It helped me get my thoughts more organized, more consistent, and more fluid. So I realized that the writing was helpful in my overall self-development.
Okay. So, man, so you've been writing for a while. Then you've been writing, what, 15, 20 years then, if you say 19? Yeah. Okay, 19. Yeah. Right. Wow. So yeah, you seasoned. You were seasoned author then. Like I said, we just get started, man. So yeah, so let's talk about your process then, like, or well, you already done started talking about your process, because we kind of, every writer has his own process. Like I have my own process. The rest of the team, they have like their own process. I have to, before I start typing up anything, I begin to write down, take notes on certain things, write down notes on certain things. Then I take that and then I convert it over. I go research certain things, write down what I research, tab certain things, then come back and then I start to type out, what I'm trying to type out, or what I'm trying to do. Like, what are, you kind of describe some of what your process a little bit, but can you kind of go a little bit further in what's Baba Imhotep process when he's getting ready to sit down and, okay, and you done lined up, okay, I got a title for a book and this is how I want to come. I want to be able to put this book out for X, Y, and Z. So what is your process when it comes to you starting to put your book together? I would say.
I like the question, because now from looking at my process, starting from my first book, my writing is really driven by needs that I might see within the movement. What I mean is this. So as I began to just read and study and do the work for years, I felt like, at least in the circles and the people that I was coming in contact with, I felt like there was a level of redundancy in terms of the thought process. I felt like people were not critical enough and were not deep enough. So I said, let me put this book on Urban Philosophy, Thought and Behavior System. I felt like, I could add something to human thought and development. So I put that out for that reasoning. And then as I began to do more work and stuff like that, I felt like that, that people in the movement, they're in the struggle, and I see a lot of mistakes that should be made, that should not be made. And I felt like maybe if people had some type of book they can refer to, that we can probably pick the pace up a little bit more and not make so many mistakes. So I put out The Politics of Urban Struggle. In that book, I go through what I define as being the struggle and some of the things I think that people need to know. Then as I continue to do the work and engage people, I realized like it appears as if the revolutionary side of the movement is lacking. It feel like people misperceive culture, and they think culture is just feel good. I said, well, it's not just feel good. Culture is the totality of everything. Culture also embodies warfare. So I said, let me put out this book, The New African Revolutionary Vanguard, to get into that. So my writing process, starting from my first book, I believe is driven by the things that I think that are missing in society. I'm looking into society, looking in the movement, and I'm trying to be useful in some capacity by producing material that I believe is beneficial and necessary.
Okay. Yeah, and I definitely can tell just with the titles and some of the things, me perusing through the books, man. That's one reason why I said I got to go ahead and break open, this first one, New African, this one here, and we're gonna talk about the publication in a minute. But these New African, what is it? New African Revolutionary Vanguard. So that really caught my eye. Me just flipping through the pages. So here's the book for people. Actually, that little special effect on there. I don't know why I do that. And then listen here to the thoughts of behavioral system. We're gonna talk about that and talk about your other two publications too, man. But before we even get into the publications, let me get off of here. All right. Your publications, are you self-published? All of your publications self-published, or did you go through a publishing company to publish your books? Because again, like I said, we trying to give both sides. Like we have some authors that came on here that was self-published, and then we had some authors that came over here that started out, going through a publishing company and then let the publishing company go, and then went through self-published and went through Amazon KDP setup. So any of your books, all of your books self-published, or you went through a publishing company?
No, they're all are self-published.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I had to throw that out there too, because like I said, we try to give them the downsides of both. I prefer self-publishing over going through a publishing company any day, man, and that's the route. to go, man. So your first publication, let's talk about your first publication, man. And before we even talk about your first publication, man, are any of your books, are they are they easy reads? Are they easy reads or for children and and adults, or are they targeted for a specific age group?
I believe I've around 1996, I was reading something that Dr. Naeem Akbar has said. And what he said, he said he write all his books, although profound, he said, but my writing process in terms of the language and concepts, he said, I really try to do it at an 8th grade level. He said, because I wanted to reach as many people as possible. And that always stuck with me, just hearing that. So I believe that I write in such a way that's clear and direct. And one of the things that I tend to do is I tend to expound a lot with the things that I'm talking about. I don't just make a statement and just keep going, like, which is okay, because I read books like that. My methodology is to make the statement, explain the statement, and then further break the statement down. And some people tend to say, well, that's a little repetitious, this, that, not right. I'm okay with that because to me, repetition is not a bad thing. So I write that way because I want the person to walk away with an understanding about what I'm talking about. Because I've listened to a lot of people talk and give information, and they only have it at a surface level because the concept wasn't explained deeply, and they didn't have the time to go into it to thoroughly understand the concept itself. So they can only repeat the concept without actual understanding. And for me, I want to write in such a way that you understand. So that's why all my books have a lot of bullets. It has a lot of sections in it because I'm trying to keep it concise, to the point. So I write that way.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So before we get in, we start going into the publication, because I want to ask you about the last publication too. We're gonna get in there with Brother Satep and Ra. Are you back on here?
Yeah, I'm on here.
Okay, we want, before we go into that, you want to go ahead and go into the what is it, the fire rapid round?
Yeah, rapid. So we got a segment called the rapid fire segment. We put 2 minutes on the clock. This is a segment where we ask about 10 questions where we want to get to know the author a little bit better, and the audience get to know the author a little bit better as well in 2 minutes. So they're going to be questions. This is going to be questions, yes or no, or just one answer questions. Maybe one or two you'll have to elaborate on it, but you got 2 minutes to do it. So give me 1 second. Let me tell my kids to be quiet.
All right. Yeah, this is just a new segment, man, that we trying to work out. I mean, I think I like it, man. We done try. This is you. I think you're gonna be the second author we done did the rapid fire round on, and it's just something, man. Like he said, get the audience a little bit more to know who you are. But go ahead, Satip.
All right, peace. All right, brother Kofi, you want to put 2 minutes on the clock for the brother if you got your cell phone or something?
Yeah, hold on.
Put 2 minutes up. 2 minutes on the clock. Let me know when you start the clock.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so favorite color?
Black.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Night or day?
Day.
Favorite TV show?
Cosby Show.
Cosby Show. All right. Your first car?
I never owned a vehicle.
Okay. All right. Next question. If you were on an island for 90 days, what 3 books would you bring?
90 days on the island. What 3 books would I bring? I would bring
Remember, what's the time, Kofi? What he got?
He got 60 seconds.
Igbo Philosophy of Law. I would bring that book. I will bring the the Odu Ifa,
Okay.
and I will bring 2,000 seasons.
All right. How old were you when you stopped believing in white Jesus?
Interestingly, I never believed in him.
Okay. 0 years old. All right. Top 3 rap artists.
KRS-One, Rakim, LL Cool J.
Time.
All right. So you only got 2 more questions left. So I'm gonna just go ahead and you made it more than 80% of the way. So we're gonna go ahead and afford you these last 2 questions.
Okay.
If you had $1 million, what would your first investment be?
And to try to figure out how to open up a school.
Okay, so you would invest in a school. Okay, the last question. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Africa.
Africa. There you go, man. We appreciate you for participating in our rapid fire segment. We hope the audience got to know you a little bit better, and I know I got to know you a little bit better. So not a lot of people that number 7, man. Not a lot of people can answer that how you just answered it. How old were you when you stopped believing in white Jesus? So that was a good one there, brother. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I like that. Y'all don't mind? I will be borrowing that.
All right.
Yeah. So let's get into your publications, man. And let's talk about your first publication. I see your first publication was in 2014. Am I correct?
Yes.
And that's the Philosophy, Thoughts, and Behavior System. That's the book that I'm holding up in my. Let me see. I got so many books over here. I'm trying to grab. I'm grabbing the wrong thing, but this is the book right here, y'all. This is his first book right here. So let's can you give us a brief summary on the book and then explain. I know you already explained it a little bit, your method and your process and why you're writing the book, but can you kind of give us a brief summary of the book and the need of why you thought you had the right thoughts and behavior system?
Okay. My like I say, basically I wanted to write. I wrote that book because I began to work with what I define as being initially I started calling it street philosophy, and then I evolved it into just saying urban philosophy. And so thought and behavior system came about because of the interactions I was having with a lot of people, and I felt like people read the information, they read the ancestors, but they didn't know how to make it into practice. And I felt like because they wasn't making it become practical, people were stuck. I felt like people didn't know how to upgrade, people didn't know how to innovate. I felt like creativity was lacking in thought processes. So I began to write this book I call Urban Philosophy, Behavior, Thought, and System because I wanted to introduce a new way of thinking. Right. So like in there, I define philosophy not necessarily according to how it's traditionally defined. And there, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about how to be better. So for me, philosophy becomes wise behavior rather than just the love of wisdom and knowledge. The love of wisdom and knowledge really amounts to nothing, right? We have to be. So urban is the mentality, is the mindset, but not the mindset from a degenerative place of being. The mindset from the authentic African mind. So I'm saying it's urban because we have been removed from the traditional societies, and now we reside in what is defined as an industrialized land. So I wanted to try to conceptualize the thinking, the mentality from a progressive point of view and link that with a type of behavior. How should we behave? We should behave in the ways that are consistent with how our ancestors behave, keeping in mind of where we are at. So the thought and behavior system is about that. So I introduced insights. I introduced 36 laws. I introduced 360 insights. I go into a different perspective for those who talk about God. I go into God from just a conceptual point of view, not necessarily saying that what a person say about God is something that's separate from who they are. I break down that God is nothing more than a concept. It's just a concept. It's someone's ability to try to give descriptive analysis to that which you can't really define. So I break all that down, trying to help us think about things differently. How do we analyze concepts? Good things come to those who wait. You know what I'm saying? It does not. Good things do not come to those who wait. That's a lie. Good things come to those who put forth the action to make good things happen, right? So how do we reframe and think differently from what have been given to us? So that's what urban philosophy, thought and behavior system is about.
Hey, you might make me break that one open first, then the other one. I like that, man. I don't know. I'm up in the air now, but I'm definitely, and I like how you say put things into practice, because I mean, you know, and I like that, because I see a lot. That's why I don't respect a lot of people in what we call this social media conscious community. You know, people can regurgitate and sound smart all day, but until they change their mindsets and actually start to take the information and start to make it practical, and you know what I'm saying, and start to, you know, become a practitioner of this information, man. I mean, I can't respect a lot of these people, you know, who they say they are, man. But I'm definitely, man, I had to check that one out first. Um, um, your other book, before we even go into your other three books, do any of the brothers on the panel, do y'all have any question, follow-up question, or question that he might have I mean, something he might have spoke on that y'all may want to follow up with him on?
Yeah, I had a couple things.
Go ahead.
One I like was hanging up in the background, Baba Imhotep. Can you kind of go into that a little bit about what's in behind you? Because that for me is important. It speaks to the points that you made about the African conceptualization of the world, which is, you know, your focus. Um, what's hanging up in behind you, if you don't mind, kind of go into the importance of that and why you have that up in your home.
Oh, I just caught on what you said. So you mean what I got on the wall behind me?
Yeah.
Oh, great, great question. So yeah, so I actually picked this up. It's a what it was a quilt, and I actually purchased it when I was in Ghana in 2017. But the reason why I got it and the reason why I'll have it up is because it's a depiction of a community, and what it shows in this community is everybody at work. See, and from an African point of view, work was not something that we dreaded. See, for us, work was service. We understood that in order for us to be as a community, it required for everyone to put forth his or her degree of service to make that community work. So I put it on the wall rather than use it as a quote, because I want to be reminded that I must forever work in the service of my people. And so that goes back into thought and behavior, because what we think we must actualize. You know, we can't just theory. We can't be all theory. We need theory because it drives us, but at the same time, theory must be tested through what we do. So that keeps me in the mindset that as a community, as a society of African people, we must work.
Sir, we actually gonna talk about that today. I'm gonna talk about that today in our book club today, about work and service. But go ahead, T'Challa.
Yeah, I mean that and the reason why I ask that is because, you know, over here at Kofi Piesie TV, we deal with Africa as a whole, obviously. But one of our lanes of specialty is um, dealing with community and dealing with the village aspect in that perspective. Um, so we're keeping in mind of those points that you just brought up, because when you look at a scene like that, a quilt, that could be on a shirt, that could be on anything. What I see is a universal principle anytime I see a depiction of an African village, because it's the same no matter what you look at,
That's
whether
right.
it's from the Omo Valley, whether it's to the Nile Valley, whether we're dealing with Niger Valley, whether we're dealing with whatever valley you want to deal with. We understand that these people have a relationship with the rest of their environment and then each other participating in what we call existence. And so for everybody to exist, as you said, everybody must participate. The other thing I wanted to say was the fact that we have a few people in the conscious community, known and unknown, who like to, you know, their goals and aspirations have been to open up some type of school, some type of education system, right? So
T'Challa.
go ahead.
We sound good now. You kind of going in and out a little bit. Like you on your phone? If you're on your phone, just go out and come right back in and ask your question.
I took off the headphones. Can you hear me
Okay,
better?
man, you sound great now. You sound great.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Basically what I was saying was, you know, the concept of opening up a school. We got a lot of people who are known and unknown who want to open up a school. But they missed the point that you said in terms of being African centered. And so we don't have to put that label on something if we're all coming together and we understand we under this, what I like to call the RBG Marcus Garvey type of mentality. We should understand that it's about Africa first as a people.
Right.
And if it's not that, then that's not something that I want to be, you know what I'm saying, necessarily tied to when it comes to this work in terms of putting out information. And if I'm putting out information primarily to educate Black people first, and then, of course, anyone else in the world who happens to come across and read and educate, of course, because I want you to understand African history too. That's the next level. But the first is we got to get our people to understand where we're supposed to be on that same page. Because we can't do it alone. Kofi can write 5 books by himself and he might be successful, but his chances of success are going to exponentially increase by linking up with even just one other person. And survival in nature and studying the history of our people will show you that in terms of how we even got here. I'm better off with the brothers on the panel if I'm stuck in the forest than just me being by myself. So I want to say that to that point of when you want to open up a school or you want to try to have an institution, if you're still in the mindset of having to, when you're dealing with your people, you want to specify that it's an African institution or that is, you know, you want to, all those extra specifications, that's going to open up the door to conversations that don't need to be had at that moment. We need to already be there. Because if it's not about Africa first, then what are you doing as a quote unquote Pan-Africanist? And that's why I brought that up, because certain people who are in the limelight who have public attention, it seems to me to tote that title, this Pan-Africanist title, it's like a fad like everything else. And it's something that I feel like they miss, you know what I mean, with putting too much emphasis on publicizing an African institution.
I appreciate that, and I agree, my brother.
Mm-hmm. That's all I had.
Okay. Any other brother got anything before we go back into the publications? I didn't want to try to hog up the whole interview, and I know he said a lot, so you know, I ain't know if nobody wanted to follow up a question with something that he said earlier, or just had some questions in general you wanted to ask. Sutek, I know you came in like, what about you? If not, we're gonna go and move forward.
Nah, y'all go ahead.
All right. Well, let's get on back into your second publication. You published Urban Philosophies, Politics of Urban Struggle, the first edition in 2005. Am I correct?
Said it. The Politics of Urban 2015.
Okay, yeah, 2015. Yeah, 2015. Can you give us a summary, man, on that, man, and you know the reasoning or the process behind putting this publication here together?
Yes. And real briefly. And once again, just trying to be as consistent with our ancestral way as possible. We as a people never entered into any field of endeavor by ourselves. We didn't because the objective is to be successful and progressive, not to go in and make unnecessary mistakes. So that's the reason why we had the elders, we had the councils, that's the reason why we had the age grade systems, the societies. We had all these processes put in place to maximize human growth and development and to ensure success. So that applies to what we define as being the struggle or the movement as well. But what I realized is that a person can go to sleep tonight and wake up tomorrow. I'm a revolutionary, get on Facebook, get on YouTube, and gather the people and start moving, right? Make tons of mistakes, mislead tons of people. And I see that happening a whole lot. So I said, well, no, it can't continue like that. So I wrote that book to address that issue, but in the same time, to give people an idea as to how to do what we say we want to do in terms of the movement or the struggle. One of the things that I emphasize in the book is the importance of institutions. Institutions are downplayed, but institutions are important. Institution does a lot of things, but what I like to say is this: institution house the ideals, aspirations, and the principles of its creators, and institutions are the way in which the ideals, aspirations, and principles of its creator are perpetuated. The institution is what allowed the ideals and aspirations and principles to exist into the future. So we need functional institutions that's going to house the correct ideals, aspirations, and principles that relate to us in an indigenous way, in an authentic way, that can impact the minds of those African people who enter into those institutions so they can do what they're supposed to do going forward. So I talk about institutions, the importance of institutions, how they can be liberatory or oppressive. I get into the apprenticeship. I say that no one should just want to just try to pop up in the league. You know what I'm saying? You should apprentice, if you want to use that word, but you should most definitely be under someone so you can develop the capacity to be successful and minimize mistakes. Not to say you're going to eradicate mistakes, but some mistakes don't need to be made if you had guidance and instructions. So I get into that. So the politics of urban struggle is getting into those type of things to help us better understand the importance of ideology, the importance of mission, purpose, and vision. You got some folk who don't have mission, they don't got vision. They get into some of the do's and don'ts, some of the pitfalls of organizing. I go through all that type of stuff. And then I get into some key concepts that people talk about but don't have a clear understanding of. I get into self-discipline, I get into solidarity, I get into urban education, I get into camaraderie, I get into field work, I get into those things that are crucial to making us competent in this area of doing this work. So that's pretty much the politics of urban struggle.
Man. And I'm like I said, I'm gonna get with you this week because I want to definitely get that one too, because that's the one I see in Amazon with 5 stars. Now before we move further with the other 2 publications, let's just go back to Amazon real quick. The Amazon, I want to give, I just always want to talk about the Amazon and talk about Amazon versus the author. When you first publish your books, the first, just say your first 2 books, so we hadn't talked about the other 2, 1 and 14, 1 and 15. Was they initially on Amazon.com or did you sell them? Did Amazon publish? Did you go through Amazon to publish your books, or did you publish them through somewhere else first, and then you ventured off to Amazon KDP?
So I started with it was Amazon, but it was the other company they had first before they had the KDP.
Mm-hmm.
So it was to create space.
Right.
So I did those through Create Space. So they ended up on Amazon once they, was complete.
Mm-hmm. And with the Amazon, like I try to talk about, the process. Like I said, this is a learning thing too, where we're trying to, show people how easy it is to do certain things. With the Amazon, like we'll talk about, like with the Amazon thing, like converting your file, writing once you get through converting your file to a PDF file, and uploading your file to the Amazon KDP, your what's the name, going through that process. And we talk about Amazon with far as the royalties, because I try to be discreet with and let them know what they're getting into. Amazon is a big platform, and a lot of us use Amazon. A lot of people put books on Amazon and poke their chest out because they got their book on Amazon, because Amazon is a big platform and they're killing in all areas right now. But when we talking about the royalties, are you happy with the Amazon, with the royalties? Because, everybody on here already know with the royalties, the 60-40 split. You get a 60-40 split with Amazon.com, and you're not even getting actually a 60-40 split. You're getting, you have to pay for the paper. You have to pay for them for the, to print the cover out. If it's in color, that's another cost. How many pages in the book is going to determine what is going to be your author's, the author's copy for your, the author's copy for yourself. And we're not really making a lot of money off of, and I'm pleased for them to print the book on demand, but I'm not pleased with what we actually getting in with the hard work that we putting in. Are you pleased with the Amazon royalties and the way that they pay out with the 60-40 split, which I say is not a 60-40 split because you got to factor in the printing, the paper, and all of the stuff?
So to answer that directly, I'm really never pleased. Just from an African nationalist perspective, I'm never pleased with any deal that I'm locked into with Europeans. So no, I'm not necessarily pleased with the way that is set up. So, and having said that, I understand, like you say, it's a monster, it's a beast, and it's set up the way that it's set up for the most part. So hopefully, I'm in the process of doing another book, and there is a Black company here in Baltimore that prints and stuff like that. And I just recently heard that they are now they have now upgraded to be able to do on-demand printing and stuff like that. So hopefully, I'll be able to begin going forward, producing and publishing my books with this Black-owned based company. They trying to create a way in which to counter, if they will, what Amazon is doing, how Amazon do what it does for the most part. But overall, right now, for where we at, what we need to do, it serves Amazon. It serves the purpose. It's convenient. I order 50, 60 books. I get them on demand. They come to me. I sell the books. So primarily, I sell all my books primarily myself. Naturally, by it being create space places your books on Amazon. So that's how the books got there. Just by me using create space. But I always try to sell my books myself, and I try to the best of my ability, to get people to purchase directly from me. Now, if a person finds the book because they searching, that's something else. But if a person coming to me, I never send them to Amazon. I just let them know you can get it directly from me.
Right, and that's the reason why we try to talk about that too, because it's important to buy it from the author. And we always, when we promote our books, we give both links out. I'm finna stop doing both links with the Amazon. We get 100% of what of our intellectual property if we sell it ourselves. Amazon, grant us the opportunity where they print on demand. But once they print it on demand, put it all in the system, then they, we're able to go and get those authors' copies at a price and then sell them on our own. And I'm just throwing that out there because I want to keep reiterating that, if you want to support an author, reach out to them themselves. That's why, when I found out you had the books, I was like, I could have, and you told me they on Amazon, and I went on Amazon and looked. I was like, no, I want to buy them directly from you. I want to buy your intellectual property directly from you instead of going and getting it from Amazon.com, because I already know the hang up with Amazon.com. I know you're not going to get what you deserve from your intellectual property. And I know you're not going to get that money right away, because I don't like the way that they pay out as well, the quarterly, and then how they pay out the quarterly, and they go by a certain month that they pay you during the quarterly and all that. So I mean, so it's very important, man, to patronize the author when you're buying the book. We greatly appreciate, if you support whether you go to Amazon or not, but always just try to go through the author if you want to try to purchase their intellectual property. And that's the only reason why I threw that question out there, just to keep reiterating that how important it is to go and buy the publications from the authors themselves. And I'm definitely gonna have to get with you on that, because we may be possibly, if see how that work out with you, that we may possibly try to go through this Black-owned company too, man, because we're not gonna let up on the gas. I know people may be tired of us. Every other month we dropping a publication, or every 2 months we're dropping a publication. We're going to continue to do that. So, man, we definitely want to try to help that Black-owned business, and that Black-owned business to help us. That's what it's about, man. It's about helping out each other, helping us out, building us up, man. So that's the reason why I threw that question out, man. But let's talk about your third publication, man. Your third publication is Urban Philosophy, the New African Revolution Vanguard, that I talk about. And this is the green book here. This is the book that I'm holding up. Let me see if I can get it. I don't know why it's got that crazy effect on it, man, but y'all can't all see it that good. I don't got that crazy effect on that this thing here. I don't know why it's doing that. But your third publication, talk a little bit. And like I said, I seen some stuff in there last night, and that's what made me say, man, I got to definitely pick the book up today, because I do consider myself a revolutionary as well. But talk about the New African Revolutionary Vanguard, man, and your process and going into it, and the benefits of people that may or what they may take away from reading your third publication.
I think if a person read it, the third publication, what they're going to most definitely walk away with, they're going to walk away with a clearer understanding of what they should do and what they should not do, and what revolution is and what it's all about, and the importance of developing the proper character necessary for the revolution. Too many people are out here talking about revolution and being advocacy, but their discipline is weak. I say this all the time. We're not going to beat, nor are we going to defeat a highly trained, disciplined enemy. And that's just being realistic, So I'm one of those people that I love my people, and I'm 1,000% race first, but I'm very practical. I know that in order to win, you got to be in a position to win. And our enemies they're trained, they're disciplined in their area of destruction. They're determined to destroy. So if we're going to move at the rate that we need to move, the folk that's doing the work, we need to be disciplined. We need to be clear. We need to have ideological, clarity. So this book, it gives you that. It clarifies. One of the things that I talk about in their book is this: you can't be one around saying you're revolutionary and you sexually confused. We don't want to talk about that, but that's the truth. There's no sexual confusion in a revolutionary or African-centered person, brother or sister. You're not sexual. You're not struggling with gender identity or none of that stuff. So I clarify that at the very beginning, and then I get into some of the things that we should be knowing, what we should know, what we should be clear about. One of the things I talk about is this right here. If you don't know why you're rebelling, who or what you're rebelling against, and what you intend by rebelling, then you're already wrong. You're already wrong. You got to have that. You got to be clear on those three things. Then I clarify revolution. It's not enough to say revolution is change. The average person, very superficially, always says that revolution means change. No, it does mean change in a literal sense. But the change that we speak of, you have to qualify that change. When they drop crack cocaine in our communities underwent a change, but that wasn't revolution. that was a reactionary change, right? That was a regressive change. That was a type of degradation set in. See, to degrade isn't to revolutionize. To revolutionize is to enhance it in a progressive way. Right? So I clarifies that in this book so people can be clear. Don't just say revolution means change and that's just, no, it's more to it than just that. You know, so I gets into the dynamics of what this thing is all about. And then I go a little bit into urban warfare, what that can basically look like, the need to be able to interchange alleys with swamps, buildings with trees, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that, you know, so we got to be able to do that because that's what we at now. We're not in, typically revolution takes place on a, you know, in the wilderness, and that type of societies, agrarian societies and things like that. You know what I'm saying? The only industrial revolution that we can really think about, you know what I'm saying, was the one that took place in, you know, in Europe. So our situation as a people is unprecedented. So we got to think differently. So we got to use different things. So I'll go through this book to try to bring forth those levels of clarity.
Okay. And you mentioned character in the revolution. Can you expound a little bit on that? I'm big on character, and I mean when you definitely said that, man, that popped out, you know, popped out a lot to me, man. Can you expound a little bit more when you you know what you mean by you got to have you know character in the revolution?
Yeah, good character. So you know, some may say what, you know, the Yoruba may call it Iwa good character. Then you got some people that says Iwa Pele, you know what I'm saying, gentle character, whatever. What I'm talking about is righteous behavior. By righteous, I don't mean nothing religious. I'm talking about right, correct actions in alignment with the morality and the spiritual precepts of African people, right? Integrity, you know what I'm saying? If I give you my word, you can take that to the bank, right? The last thing I'm going to do is to break my word. And that's the reason why I think before I talk. Because when I say it, I'm going to do it. Because from an African point of view, thought, speech, and actions or behaviors are one and the same.
That's
what
right.
I think is what I say is what I do.
That's right.
So to be in the revolution, to be on the forefront, we got to have good character. You need to know that if I give you my word, I'm going to follow through. You need to know that my word is good. You need to know that the way that I am today, I'm going to be tomorrow and the day after that. What I do in the public is what I do in private. That's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to find out that I got 3 and 4 faces. That's not good character. I can't have 3 and 4 faces. I got to have one face, one being, one protocol that regulates who I am. And that's what people don't talk about. Like you can go all through the YouTube and find all these lectures from all these popular ass people out here, right? But they're not talking about character because their character's no good. And that's the reason why we are jacked up, because we're not talking enough about character. We're not placing emphasis on character, and we're allowing too many shiesty people to get by because they're popular, right? We need to get to character. And that's always been my position. Good character.
Ooh, yes, indeed, brother. Yes, indeed. I totally agree 1,000, man, with what you're saying. That's why I say I'm very you know, my thing is good character, you know what I'm saying? Demonstrating good, you know, good character. And going back into me saying I don't take a lot of the people in this so-called social media conscious community, you know what I'm saying, seriously, especially when they say that they're Pan-Africanists. I'm a Pan-Africanist, or I'm a descendant from Africa, or you know, my roots go back to the Igbo tribe, or go back to the Yoruba people, or go back to the people in Togo, you know, etc. You know, and I look at their character. That's what I base a person off of their character, especially like these popular people that gets these thousands of views that our people love looking at, that you have to put their character, you know what I'm saying? You have to wear their character, man. And I don't respect it, because if you say who you say you are, and that's the thing, if we say we something, we have to be who we say we are. And anytime that you deal and on the continent, you say you are African, and again, you practice Pan-Africanism, or or you descend from this, or you practicing any type of Kimoyo or African, traditional religion or African spirituality or the way of the answers, whatever you encase it. When you dig into the culture, into the customs of these people, it's always a key element, and that is cultivating good character. They are always talking about cultivating good character. They are trying to make the person the highest humanitarian as possible, or the highest human as possible. And that comes with good character. That means, working for a common goal, you know what I'm saying, unifying and uplifting people. That comes with acknowledging someone's existence. That comes with being polite to one another. That is keeping one's word. That is doing what you're trying to do. So I agree with you 1,000, man. And a lot of these cats, man, that's in this community, man, I don't even look at them. I don't even, I don't conversate. I'm not trying to conversate. I'm not trying to get into circles. I'm not trying to get on that platform, because again, their character is in question. And so again, if we're going to say that we got to demonstrate who we are. If you're going to say you are part of this type of tradition, or you are part of these types, you are part of these people, then you have to demonstrate it. And one way to demonstrate it is good character. Because again, in those traditions, whether you look in South, East, West, Central, or North, it's all those traditions are always talking about cultivating good character and making one's person the highest human or humanitarian as possible. So, man, I agree with you 1,000, man, with that. So that's why I wanted you to kind of expound on that a little bit when you mentioned character in the revolution. Let's go into, man, your last publication, man. The African Man in the 21st Century in Urban Philosophy, Definition, Protocol, and Framework. Can I read the description of this book, brother? And then you can.
Yeah.
Okay. It says, in speaking about the content of this writing, warriors will find a large collective of essential thinkings of working tools, and recognizing that you can bring a man knowledge, but you can't make him think. This book is full of timeless wisdoms and battle-tested lessons which can assist those who recognize that we are at war, and their needs to submit themselves to the Okambians. Am I saying that right?
Akaben.
Okay, Akaben's call. It is offering a generous collections of personal thoughts, fictional knowledge, challenges, motivations, and concrete affirmations which can guide warriors toward building and strengthening their character. And study well, that word character go again. If studied well, it can even assist and assure in finding more productive ways of calibrates their desires to better reflect the depth and both the demands that be an African and create creativity, envision victory of Malamuke Bomi Borute. In writing this book, Baba Imhotep Asafatu has added the ongoing dialogue about African manhood. His insights are on point. His perspective of African manhood is brilliant, and it is a must study for anyone interested in African manhood. This is a fascinating book. And me reading that description, and you talking about character, and you talking about manhood, and you talking about you can lead a man to knowledge, but you can't make him, you can't make him think. And that it just draw me in. And this is your fourth publication, and it was published in 2008. Am I correct?
This one, 18.
Yeah, 2000. Well, I said 2000. Yeah, 2018. I don't know what it is with the wars. I can't see the wars sometimes. But yeah, and I noticed this book is off of Amazon.com, And you know, I'm really wanting that book because that's our theme over here too. You know, most of when we deal with our collective work, you know, each one of our books deals with a spear. And you know, we talk about warriors. You know, that's you know, we always talk about a historical survey. It is a survey, and we talk about we look at ourselves as African warrior scholars, and we also have a show called African Warrior Scholars. So I know that definitely drew me in when you was talking about warriors and manhood and motivation and you know stuff like that, man. Can you know talk a little bit more about that book and how can we get that book, especially myself? I definitely want to purchase this book as well. How can we also get this book, because it's no longer purchased on Amazon.com? We kind of talked about it briefly. You know, you had some issues. I mean, you could talk about that too if you want to.
So with the African Manhood 21st Century book is not on Amazon because it's currently being redoing it a little bit to reprint it. So my plan is to have it completed at least back in production by the beginning of 2021. That's the plan. And that's because I didn't do this one through the normal channels. I was in the process of, I was being called to do a speaking engagement and they wanted me to talk about manhood. And I knew I was in the process of getting this book done. So I really jumped the ship to move fast. And I went with a different company. I went with that, what is it called? Exclevelis. I think that's the name of that. Went with that company and it was totally jacked up. So the way they had everything, so that was just totally jacked up. So I had to back out of that deal with them. And my back out of that deal with them, now I gotta actually, I had to let some time go by to get it off of Amazon, stuff like that. And then just actually reprint the book. So now I'm gonna reprint it through different channels. So my plan is to have it out by 2021. But what the book is essentially about is I wanted to introduce an idea of manhood that was different from what most of us or most people traditionally thought about manhood. So I wanted to let people know, like, during warring times, the men don't have the luxury of not being involved in the war. You don't have, you know what I'm saying? That's not a debate. That's not up for discussion. You know what I'm saying? If you got 7 men in the house and someone is invading the house, you don't debate about, you know, who's going to stop this individual. You know what I'm saying? He or she or they must be stopped because they have invaded. The invasion is in progress. So that's us as a people. You know what I'm saying? My alpha is in progress. So I wanted to talk about manhood from that perspective, and also let brothers know, like, in terms of we shouldn't be misleading women. So I talk about that. Don't mislead the woman. Most of us know when a woman like us. You know when she like you. If you don't have no intention of being with her, don't pound her feelings. You know she like you. Don't drag her on. Don't mislead her on. Don't do that. That's not correct. So I talk about that. I talk about the need for brothers not being bums. Don't be a bum. You know, a man shouldn't be a bum. I talk about the fact that all men should be very resourceful. We should know how to provide for self, family, and community. That goes without question. All men should know how to do that. I get into the core areas of manhood, which are fatherhood, which is brotherhood, which is warriorhood, identity, ideology, financial stability. You know, I go through all these things, like we should have this stuff in place. What are some do's and don'ts? What are some duties of the man? All African men should be making sure our elders, at least an elder, we looking out for, checking in on. Our elders should not be left to just languish. So I go through all those things to help us get a better idea of what we should be doing as a man. I gets into machoism. We gotta debunk machoism. You can't cry. You can't be soft. You can't be emotional. You know what I'm saying? That's bullcrap. Right? Our emotions is what makes us who we are. You know what I'm saying? We are emotional as a people. African people, we are emotional. Emotions are not an indication of weakness. So I clarifies that because we got so many brothers who are so out of whack with their emotions that they don't know how to raise their children. Like most men think beating on their son is how you raise your son. You know, you don't hug him. You don't tell him I'm proud of you. You don't tell him, you know what I'm saying? I love you. You think punching on him is enough, right? So I clarify those types of things. Vulnerability. I goes into vulnerability. I let brothers know vulnerability isn't weakness. It's strength to be vulnerable. You should be able to be vulnerable with those who you love, primarily your wife. And I get into all those things, right? So that's why I call it a protocol and a definition, because I kind of redefine how we should be thinking about an African man.
Man, yeah, you got to hurry up, man, to get that that publication out, man. I know a lot of people in my community, man, need to read that publication on a man, and to dispel that myth. I'm very emotional. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not afraid to show my emotions. I definitely don't think it makes me feel less of a man for me to show my emotions, or even cry. I done cried on this platform twice, tears of joy, tears of joy. So yeah, man. Anybody, the brothers, man, got anything else, man, before we get into the last questions? We coming into an hour and 15 minutes. We got 15 minutes left before the show end, man. So if y'all got any questions, follow-up questions for Brother Baba Imhotep, or anybody in the chat in Facebook or in YouTube world, put your questions in the chat if y'all got any questions for him. What about you, T'Challa Sutek? Y'all got anything? I guess not. So we'll move on, man. We got 15 minutes left. I got 2 more questions, man, and man, we'll end the broadcast, man. Again, y'all, please like and share the show. Those that are looking at it on Facebook, go ahead. If you're on YouTube, please share the show with somebody that you think that may be interested in what we were talking about. But Brother Baba Imhotep, after coming up with your ideals for your books, after writing your chapters, after editing, putting your books together, publishing it, what did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about yourself each publication you did, doing all these things, coming up with the ideals again, writing the chapters, editing the book, putting the book together, you know what I'm saying, getting it published. What did you learn about yourself?
So with the first book, I think, and I think you actually highlighted it at the very beginning of the show. What I learned with the first book is that I, in fact, was an author. Although I never classified myself as that, and I probably still wouldn't say that, but I learned that with the first book. Because I've been writing, I have about 100 poems also. I'm about to put a poetry book out, but I've been writing poetry and all that. And I realized, you know what? You are this. Although you don't call yourself this, you are, in fact, that. So I learned that I was an author with the first book. And then when I got to get that second book out, and I started going through the process with the second book, what I think I learned about myself is I realized that I was what I would define as being, I'm a conceptual person. I realized that I moved from concepts. I had to create a concept. And then after the creation of the concept, I can build it out. And now the second book allowed me to better understand that. And as I began to write on that third book, the New African Revolutionary Vanguard, I realized that about myself, that I could do it. I could do it in a fairly decent amount of time, and produce something that would be valuable for the population. That's what the third book showed me. It showed me that I could do it. And that's what got me to that fourth book. Actually doing the third book is what actually convinced me to go ahead and do the fourth book. And I did the fourth book, and that's the reason why I'm also gonna put on I'm gonna put out 2 books in 2021, because I'm writing my my 5th book also. And that 5th book is called Nomo, Unified System of Spirituality. And real briefly, what that book is about is just trying to explain that essentially at the core, African spirituality are the same at its core, although it may show up and express itself differently according to which group it show up in. But when you get into it, you get ancestral reverence, you get libation, you know what I'm saying? You get spirit fusion, you get all these things in all of them. You get the call and response. You get that all throughout our people. So Nomo is pretty much dealing with that a little bit. And I learned all of that. The 4th and 5th book is made possible because I did the third book. It told me you can produce books. You know, given the time and the peace of mind, you can write books. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, all right, I like that. Lakeisha Dunn has a question for you. She said, "Who is your biggest inspiration growing up?"
My biggest inspiration, when I was growing up, that's a great question. Because I didn't have any. The only person I could think of in a very indirect way would be my mother. And the reason why I said I didn't have any at first, because I never been to high school. I never been to college. I didn't even complete the junior high. I stopped going to school in the 8th grade. You know what I'm saying? I started running the streets, you know what I'm saying? Now, my entire childhood was spent in juvenile justice systems and places like that. When I was 16, I was incarcerated in an adult prison. Then I went back when I was 20 and done 13 years and 9 months. So my inspiration if I think about it, it had to be my mother, watching her raise 6 of us by herself. You know what I'm saying? And showing us the power of hard work and being proudful and being a woman of her word. So I would have to say my mother.
All right. Our good sister, our great sister, LaDosha Wright. She's also been on the platform and been on Author's Perspective, and she's responsible for our books, Getting Down to Banjul, Gambia, Volume 1 and Volume 2. So shout out to Sister LaDosha. She has a question for you. She said, how does he feel about being an outlier in his field?
An outlier in my field. I'm not quite understanding her question. I'm gonna take a shot at it if I understand it correctly. I love being an outlier in my field because I believe I've created my own lane. So that's the reason why I say urban philosophy, urban philosopher, the first urban philosopher. And even when I get into Pan-Africanism, if you go inside that red book, there's a section in there called Scientific Pan-Africanism, because I realized that the whole idea surrounding Pan-Africanism, people have jacked it all up. So I want to be distinguished. So I want to say something that don't even get linked in the lineup with that bull crap and that foolishness. So I'm proud of what I have been able to achieve and accomplish in my field. And I believe I have my own lane. And as long as I have my own lane, I write the rules, I define the protocol, and I create the standard. You know, and what I can say is that it's going to be right and exact to the best of my abilities as I understand our traditional way.
Okay. Brother Zaneb Sankofa, who is a member of the New Black Knowledge, and they doing some great things over there. He was just on the platform the other week as well. He says, define manhood.
Define manhood. Oh man. I'll say this. I know like the way things are set up, we ask questions like that, but to answer that question in a succinct way, I would say manhood, African manhood, I'm gonna preface it that way. African manhood is the ability to think and act in the best interest of self, family, and community. To utilize your traditional ideals, principles, and aspirations to regulate and direct your movement forward. I would define it that way. But it's not easy to give a definition of manhood because manhood is a status that one must reach. It's something that one must aspire to. And manhood is something that's always forever evolving. So the total definition would be the compilation of my book. But just for the answer to that question, I would answer it the way that I just answered it.
All right. And the snot ball, he says, did Amilcar Cabral play a part in helping you redefine your ideals about nature of revolution?
It's interesting that this person asked this question. I think it's very insightful that they asked the question because it's dead on point. It's an impossibility for one. You have to understand and study Amilcar Cabral. Amilcar Cabral was one of our greatest strategists, revolutionary strategists in the 20th century. That's what I believe. I believe what he did in Guinea with the Portuguese was just phenomenal. Considering the fact that he was an engineer who became a revolutionary. So that my answer to your question is yes. Studying Return to the Source and Amilcar Cabral and all that entire movement helped shape the some of my thinking around the nature of the struggle or the revolution, because Amilcar Cabral is one of the ones who emphasized the importance of culture in the revolution. So yes.
All right. Anybody else? Sutek, you got something, man? I don't see any more questions in the chat. I got one more question, man, and we'll end the program. Brother Sutek. He must have walked away. But all right, man, this last question, man, I don't see no more questions in here. Hold on. Man, his name, Leo, born for 10,000 years. Okay. All right. And this is the question we asked everybody, Baba Imhotep. What can you give any advice to any up and coming writer?
Yes. I would encourage everyone to write. Everyone write. You have a story, and your story is unique. But write always. Every time you get a thought, every time you get an idea, write everything down. Don't define yourself by any European definition of what it means to be an author, because that's going to handicap you. Don't think about these predetermined definitions. A great deal of the Europeans' power lies in their ability to define, label, and categorize things. So our task and our challenge is not to adhere to that. It's to think for ourselves, to redefine for ourselves, to conceptualize for ourselves. So just write every idea, every thought, write it down, and then bring it all together and produce some material.
Okay. And that's basically like this, something just write it down, and those ideals, like you saying, we talk about this a lot. I have ideals. I take a pad, and I had a sister on, Sister Mary. She was on, Sister Mary Alonye. She has quite a few publications out, and she was saying some of the same things, just write it down on paper. And she takes pads. I do the same thing. I have an ideal. I just take it. I just jot it down. I just write these things down, and then later on it may, compile those things I write, and it may become a book. Or some of the things I wrote down in my publication, as I learn, we all learn. Sharing with others help deepen your own knowledge. These were some of the things that I jotted down in, a pad, or jotted down in one of my little mini pads that I had that I take around with me. I kind of stopped doing it at one point in time, but I definitely started back doing it at all times, because I come up with ideals all the time. So I just try to write them down. So yeah, just start, just write. And you have people, here a lot, and I'm telling the listener audience, those that may be trying to write books, I mean, just reach out to some of the people that that we had on the platform, or reach out to to us, and we'll definitely walk y'all through on how to put the book together, how to put the chapters together, how to place this here, place that there. So I know every author that we had on here is willing to help out. Also, if you reach out, because we're trying to produce more writers that look definitely like us. Brother Baba Imhotep, you got any final words, and where can the people reach you at, and how can they get your publications that you have out now?
Yes. In closing, my final words would be, I like to tell people this, it's very simple. It's a very simple philosophy that I live by. It works. It's two of them. So the first one will be this right here. I call it DEPS, DEPS, desire, endurance, patience, sacrifice. If you desire something strong enough, failure can't overtake you. You may get some setbacks, but failure will never defeat you. You must desire it. You must have endurance. You must possess patience, and you must have the capacity to sacrifice for what you want to achieve. So it's called depths. That's your internal fire, depths. Build it, and you're going to move forward. And lastly, I tell everybody, seek to master discipline in the pursuit of supreme discipline. I'll say it again. Seek to master discipline in the pursuit of supreme discipline. We must have exceptional self-discipline to do what we want to do. There is no success with indiscipline. There is no success. There is no achievement. There's no sovereignty with looseness and indiscipline. It requires discipline. Seek to master discipline in the pursuit of self-discipline. You can find me, you can reach me at my website is www.plm95.org. That's www.plm95.org. Or you can reach out to me directly on Facebook at Baba Imhotep, or you can find me on Instagram at Baba Imhotep. Either way, you're going to get in contact with me. My email is the letter I, FATIU at yahoo.com. You can email me there. That's IFATIU at yahoo.com.
And Baba Imhotep, when we get off, text me your email address and your other information so I can go back and because I got the name of your books in the description, but I want to be able to put your contact information when they look at this video, and then they go down and see in the description, okay, this is the name of these books. I want to contact this brother, or reach out to him for whatever they may be. I can put it down in the description, but I have already in the description the name of the books of his publications, all his publications. Again, let me share my screen, man, before we get up out of here. Let's do this. All right. Let me go back over here. I want to do this. Make sure my screen. All right. Real quick. Also go to KofiPiesieTV.com to get these publications that we put out. Spirits of the Marcy, Volume 1 from Spirits of Pen, Volume 2. One Night Before Bed, which is Annie Harriet Sean's Carol Funny children book. Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland, African Education and Music and Instrument by myself. From Cocaine to Conscience by Annie Harriet Sean Carol Funny. As I Learn, We All Learn, sharing information with others, help deepen your own knowledge by myself. And the latest publication that we put out, Spiritual Combat, Volume 3. So please go and support. And again, it's on KofiPiesieTV.com. Also, if you're looking for some fresh wear, we have our own clothing line. It is called the Mboka Family Connected Apparel. It is our online store. You can go to www.familyconnectapparel.com. Again, it's a clothing line. It's not a t-shirt. You can get t-shirts on there. You can get long sleeves. You can get hoodies. You can get hats. You can get bucket caps. You can get skull caps. You can get bomber jackets, windbreaker pants, sweatpants, pants, socks, and some more stuff, man. So go check us out, man. On there, we got a lot of dope stuff on there, and everything means something. Everything on there means something. It's all our brands. It's the Mboka brand. It is the Kofi Piesie Research brand. It is the Marcy Warrior Clan brand. And we have a few pieces on there for the Niger Valley Civilization brand. We are all a family. So please go out and purchase something from off of our Mboka Family Connected Apparel online website. Again, it is at www.familyconnectapparel.com, or you can just type in Google Mboka Family Connected Apparel, and it'll pop up. Click on the link, go to the catalog, and stroll through the catalog. We got about 75 or 80 different selections on there. Pick something out for your family. Pick something out for your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your friend, your sister, your niece, your cousin. And again, be prideful to wear something that represents you. Let me stop sharing. And again, Baba, I want to say we greatly appreciate you, man, for having you on the platform today, man. It was an honor. I definitely learned something. And I'm definitely gonna go back and watch it again, man, because you said some very powerful things, especially with your closing words. I definitely want to be able to write that down, man, and apply that, man, to my everyday life. I know somebody in the chat learned something, man. I know a lot of people in the chat say they enjoyed your this interview and your perspective, man. And I greatly appreciate you again, man, and glad to have you on. And it was an honor, man. So I want to say peace and Black African power to the family. I also want to say Shem Imhotep. I said ET Imhotep in the beginning of the show, and that means to bring forth peace. So now appreciate that, Sister Lakeisha, for putting the link in the chat. I said, like I said, ET Imhotep, which means bring forth peace. So now I want to say Shem Imhotep, which means to depart in peace. We'll see y'all later on this evening, 7:00 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our book club. We are in chapter 6 of our ancestor, Chancellor Williams' great work, Destruction of Black Civilization. This is going to be another powerful show this evening, man, when we dig into chapter 6. It's definitely going into the lane and my lane. So we'll see y'all this evening. Peace, and we out of here.
Peace. I enjoyed myself.
All right. Peace.